Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking about the hot topic of Master Duel, the new Tier 1 deck, Mathmech. We've made a couple of videos on this deck already, but honestly, it's just a lot of fun, and it's really good. I'm sure an awful lot of people are looking at it, wondering how exactly they can consistently make their way past a deck like this, and honestly, it's very difficult. It's a very powerful deck. Today we're going to be showing off just another few replays with it, as well as a lot of situations where maybe you don't open up a very good hand, where you've got suboptimal situations, and sort of how to make the best of these situations when they do arise. So yeah, this is going to be more so a display of what to do when things go wrong, rather than, you know, whenever you open up broken and you get your full combo and everything. We're also going to be showing off why people should be running a second Laplacian. Second Laplacian is really good, especially when you're going second. So yeah, without further ado, we're not going to sit too much on it. We already have covered this deck a couple of times. I've done this exact deck list in a previous video, so I won't be doing a deck profile this time. If you want a deck profile, you can check our previous video on Mathmech, and it will go through card for card every single thing that is in here. But yes, if you're new around to the channel, this is your first time watching us, or if you have been coming back and just haven't subscribed for whatever reason, feel free to subscribe because it does help me out. Every little bit helps. So if you want to leave a comment as well in terms of what you would do either against Mathmech or what your preferences are for playing it, absolutely. I know not everyone is huge on Max Seed, Parallel Exceed, not everyone's huge on Small World. People play Diameter at lots of different ratios, Addition, Subtraction at lots of different ratios. So just tell me what kind of tech options and what cool sort of ratios you're playing when it comes to Mathmech, if you want to, or just anything else you want to leave down below. And with that, let's get into game number 1. Already getting into game 1, we are of course going second, because I do want to show off situations in which this deck is weaker than it would otherwise be. Our opponent's going to go Mass Change here off of their Shadow Mist, summoning out Vision Hero Vion, pitching Draw Hand to Graveyard. Then they're going to link off into Extra Hero Cross Crusader. Now at this point, we're going to utilize our Ghost Spell to stop that Cross Crusader from reviving a monster from the graveyard. That should slow down our opponent quite a lot. That Cross Crusader's effect is very powerful. They just end up setting 2 and passing back to us, which is very good for us. We draw here during the standby phase. Destiny Hero Draw Hand summons itself out to the field and is going to activate to let both players draw a card, and he's going to very cleverly chain his Mass Change here, which means that he's going to send off for Masked Hero Dark Law, and then when we draw a card off the Draw Hand's effect, he gets to snipe a card out of our hand, and he's going to snipe the Ash Blossom. Now, why is this a tricky situation? Well, for you to activate the effect of your Mathmech Circular, you need to be able to send a Mathmech from your deck to your graveyard to special summon it out from your hand. Masked Hero Dark Law says that any card that would be sent to the graveyard is instead banished, meaning you cannot resolve the effect, the cost of Mathmech Circular. If you can't pay the cost, you can't use the effect. That means you're not summoning Circular, which is rather tough, but luckily we do have a few options here. So what we're going to do, we're going to Small World, trade in our Nibiru, pitch through a Veiler to grab Diameter. Diameter then on normal summon isn't going to do very much, but Subtraction then is going to special summon itself out by reducing the Dark Law by 1000. We're going to go into Alimbertion here. We had a choice where we could have not used Alimbertion's effect until main phase 2, but we decided we were just going to go for it because we've got our negate now with the Diameter. We might as well use it. We're going to grab Sigma from deck. Now we're going to take out the Dark Law, so we did have to go through a bit of chain reaction to get there, but we did in the end take out the Dark Law. Going to pitch a Mathmech from deck to grave to summon Circular, special summon out Sigma. Then Circular's effect grabs Mathmech Equation. Alimbertion's going to tribute itself to grab back one of the Mathmechs in the graveyard. Then we're going to exceed off into Laplacian. Laplacian then detach 3 to send 3, snipe a card in their hand, a monster, and the Speller Trap, completely wiping our opponent out. And we have the Super Factorial to do the exact same on our opponent's turn. So they're going to go Miracle Fusion off the top of the deck, banishing 2 from the graveyard to summon out the Elemental Hero Escuridao, which basically was just here to meet the condition for Elemental Hero Shadows to destroy a Speller Trap card. Now we're going to chain to that Super Factorial, and I believe here our opponent does in fact simply... yeah, I think we summon out the Laplacian, and I think they just give up. I think they actually tried to timer stall us. So we summon out 3, we go Laplacian, Chainlink 2 resolves, and then Chainlink 1... Yeah, they didn't surrender, they sat there for the full time limit, so they did. You'll see here, time limit win. So, Bit of a toxic player. It is what it is. I guess when you're playing against tier 1, it can be somewhat frustrating. So I can kind of see where they're coming from. But yeah, you can see the power behind the 2 Laplacian there, being able to snipe an extra 2 cards, taking out the Iscaridao as well as another card in their hand. That's pretty busted. So yeah, getting through sticky situation, utilizing the versatility of Mathmech to get past the Dark Law and still absolutely neuter your opponent using the double Laplacian. Let's get into game number 2. Already getting into game 2 here, we have double Parallel Exceed in hand, which you hate to see. We do also have a Nibiru, which is useless in this matchup. We are going to Velar the Shizuku before the end phase, so it does not get its search, which is fine. Luckily, we are against Sky Striker, so it's not the most difficult matchup in the world, especially when you're being made to go second for some reason. Small World's going to ditch the Nibiru and the Velar to once again grab Circular, Small World being an absolute lifesaver in most circumstances. The double Exceed in hand is not very good, but we are going to be able to resolve our Circular here. Our opponent unfortunately does have the Max C though. That puts us in a situation where we sort of have to pick and choose how we want to go about this. We decide to just commit to it. We're going to go Diameter here. Diameter is going to revive the Sigma, which means we can still utilize the effect of Sigma later in the turn should we still have an empty extra monster zone. We're going to grab the Super Factorial here, then we're going to simply Exceed 3 into Laplacian. We don't want to give our opponent a whole bunch of cards here. We're just going to take our chances. We're going to send Shizuku a card in their hand as well as their face down card to the graveyard. They are going to activate Ray, but we're going to use our Diameter Negate to prevent the Ray from resummoning itself, which means that we're not exactly in a perfect position, but we're pretty much dominating our opponent here. Sigma then is going to come back to the field. We're going to link 2 off into Splash Mage. We decide we're going whole hog. We got rid of their field. Now's our chance to go nuts. We're going to go Exceed out the field, Exceed out from deck as well. They're drawing cards, but they're not going to be able to stop us now. We're going to revive 1 from grave, link 2 into Update Jammer plus Splash Mage into Access Code Talker. So unless they top deck Nibiru right now, there's nothing they can do about this. Access Code Talker then gaining 2000 attack points as well as the ability to attack twice from our Update Jammer, and we just go in the battle phase and take the win. And there you go, very easy win there. Being able to get past the, again, the Maxi, bit of a problem, but it looks like our opponent didn't top deck any particularly useful cards. But yeah, not exactly the most broken of hands, but it wasn't terrible. Again, if you see Small World and a way to get into Circular is automatically pretty good, right? We were able to use our Laplacian. We were able to go into Laplacian as well as an Access Code Talker. That's the main reason I wanted to show that one off. Being able to go into Laplacian to brutalize your opponent's field and their hand, taking out 3 cards from your opponent and then still being able to extend in the Access Code Talker, that's pretty nutty. That is nuts. So yeah, 100%. Let's just get into game number 3. Already game 3 here, and we don't really have a way in our hand to get into our Circular, so this isn't exactly a fantastic position to be in. Our opponent does Max C on our Parallel Exceed here, and so we're going to go for Ash Blossom to try and stop that Max C from resolving here. The last thing we want to be dealing with is that we already have a weak enough field as it is, so we're going to have to basically make the most of the Max C here. Sorry, of the Parallel Exceed. I keep on calling it Max C. The reason this turn gets particularly rough is we get Veilared as well. Now, if we had just stopped where we were, if they didn't have that Veilar, we still would have been in a good position because we could go Alambertian to search for Circular and then start comboing off. But unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. Our opponent, though, they are also on the Mathmech, and they're going to mirror our first turn, basically mocking us going into the exact same plays that we would have done. There's the Alambertian. If you want the proof, there you go. Our opponent just did it, ditching 2 materials to try and grab themselves a Circular. Not a mission, my friend. They are, however, going to go for Lingaribo. There's the power behind the Lingaribo. It is unfortunate. That's why we wanted to do Lingaribo on our turn to protect our Parallel Exceed from impermanence. But they simply had the effective Veilar. Nothing we could have done about that. They're going to grab Circular. Circular's going to summon out the field. I'm going to speed through this combo because y'all have seen this before. This is not new to any of us. Circular grab Super Factorial. Then they're going to link off into Splash Mage. Splash Mage revive the Parallel Exceed. They chose Parallel Exceed, which I thought was interesting because now they don't have the double attack. We're going to negate the Transcode Talker here off of our Ghost Spell, but unfortunately, no, we don't. Man's just got everything. He's got the Ghost Spell. He's going to go into Decode Talker Heat Soul here. He's not actually going into the access code. Oh, yes, he does. Yes. No, he doesn't. Interesting. He swings in. He goes into Firewall Dragon. So this is a more sort of Code Talker heavy version of it, right? Using the Firewall Dragon and some of the more Code Talker monsters. This version of the deck tends not to play Disciple and Devotee, and it's very interesting. I'm a huge fan of the Firewall Dragon. I just think the card looks dope. So any excuse you want to give me to play it, absolutely. I've already been working on a Code Talker Mathmech build that is actually, you know, conducive to a purpose. There's a lot of people playing it just for, you know, the lulz, and I actually want to make it good. So I've been working on that. But yeah, 100%. Firewall Dragon, Decode Talker drawing an extra card, Firewall Dragon giving him a bounce whenever he wants. He is going to use his brain here and preemptively bounce, but he chooses the Lingaribo for some reason, which was not the play. The correct play was definitely the Diameter. We're going to grab Sigma back here, but I guess he was just planning on using his Super Factorial anyways. Subtraction, Circular, and Sigma come out. No negate with the Diameter on our opponent's field, but they've got more than enough with their Royal Rare Laplacian to deplete our field, sending Diameter, and we scoop it up. There's nothing we can do at that stage. Our opponent simply outplayed us. They just had the right cards at the right time. They had Veiler, they had Maxi, they had Ghost Ogre. Sorry, not Ghost Ogre, Called by the Grave to negate our Ghost Spell. So, I mean, they just had everything. Sometimes you just can't win. But there you go, Mathmech getting beat. What's going to come out and beat Mathmech? Mathmech. It's the only thing that can beat it. So absolutely, I think it does deserve its spot as the top deck in the game at the moment. And there's very clearly different ways of playing it, as you can see from our opponent there. I don't think their way is necessarily better. I think we just had a rough hand, and our opponent just had a fantastic hand with lots of interruptions. So it is what it is. Sometimes you just take the L. Let's get into game number 4. Already getting into game 4 here. This time we have a pretty solid hand. We're going to go Circular off the bat. Our opponent, of course, they have the Maxi. Of course they have the Maxi. They always have the Maximus C. So, I mean, what are you going to do about it? We summon out Circular, and we'd say that we're going to set one pass, right? We're traumatized from taking the Maxi challenge. We're gonna cool our jets. Our opponent has the Harpy's Feather Duster, clearing out our Cosmic Cyclone, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I'll take that 1 for 1 any day. They've got Forbidden Droplet, which they decide to use now, I'm assuming just to pitch Nerval to Graveyard so that they can search their deck for Karass. Looks like they're playing some Tri-Brigade here. Tri-Brigade, Karass, then ditching the Nerval from hand to summon itself out of the field. Banishing 2 from grave to link summon into Tri-Brigade Ferjit. Ferjit summoning out the Lyrilusk Cobalt Sparrow from their hands. Cobalt Sparrow searching for the Beryl Canary. And from here, it's just going to get nuts. They're going to go to Samorg, the Bird of Divinity. I'm pretty sure that's... or Sovereignty. Or something its name is. Yeah, the Bird of Sovereignty. They're going to summon out their Canary and Sparrow. Then they're going to exceed off, into the Ensemble Robin. The Ensemble Robin is, of course, a bit of a threat. They're going to take out Circular. I don't think they had the gas they needed to go into lethal this turn. They didn't open up the best of hands, as you could tell from the Droplet Nerval. But they do, however, still have 2 bounces and an Omni Negate here in the form of their Apex Avian. So we're just going to hopefully beat out these negates. If anyone doesn't know what this board does, the Lyrilusk Ensemble Robin basically will allow them to bounce back a monster to our hand whenever we summon one by detaching a material, and it can do that more than once per turn. So this is 2 bounces, and this is an Omni Negate. So that's not an easy thing to get past. We're going to go Sigma, then into our second Circular. That's when our opponent decides to pop their Apex Avian, which suits us perfectly. That's fine. We don't need Circular to go off this game. What we're going to do now is link 1 into the Link Disciple. That's going to allow us to use our Parallel Exceed in hand. Again, the double Exceed, not exactly great. But that's fine because he activates on summon there. I mean, they have to activate on summon. There's no choice. We're going to be able to chain Parallel Exceed to dodge the restriction otherwise around the Link Arrows. He's going to bounce our second Parallel Exceed, though. He was really, really eager to get past our board. And I don't necessarily blame him, because it wouldn't be a great situation if he allowed these things to resolve. We're able to bring back Circular here to the field, then Exceed off into pre-Mathmech Alimbertion. Alimbertion detached to grab Diameter from our deck. We have yet to normal summon, meaning Diameter can make its way out to the field, reviving the Circular. Then we're going to link 2 off into Splash Mage, and we all know how it goes from here. Splash Mage, revive back Circular, link 2 off into Update Jammer, and our Splash Mage, of course, having the ability to go into Trans Code Talker. We're going to make our Access Code Talker real big. We're going to revive the Update Jammer, Then we put a link into a 5300 attack access code talker capable of attacking twice and winning us the game. So pretty much as simple as that. Like, it doesn't matter how far behind you are with this deck, you always have plays to come back. You can play through a ton of interruptions, especially if you open up with a pretty decent hand like we did on this occasion. So yeah, just showing off how the deck plays through interruptions like it's nobody's business. Like, whenever your deck has a fallback plan of we'll just summon access code talker and win, that's when you know you're playing a good deck. That's when you know you've got a fantastic deck on your hands, if that's your fallback plan. Let's look at the deck one last time. So there you have it. There's the replays we're going to be including for today, showing off the deck in some good and maybe not so good situations and what you can do and play around with. Do you have to play the deck exactly like this? Absolutely not. You know, there's a lot of people don't like Small World, for example, right? Small World, I think, is phenomenal, but it does take a little bit of brain power to use. Not everyone's super fond of it, especially not if 3. I would only recommend playing 3 because of how powerful Circular is. Like, honestly, Circular makes this deck, and seeing it, having what is essentially 3 more copies of it, is always good. So, 100%. A lot of people like playing Final Sigma. Like, people play Sigma a lot in this deck. So they do. You can absolutely play Final Sigma. If you want to cut the Link, Disciple, and Devotee combo, you can go for the Code Talker and Firewall package. Right? You can do this and a wee bit of Firewall action. Great. And then usually in those types of decks they include like Microcoder and Sign a Conflict, things like that. So there's a whole plethora of different ways of building and playing the deck. I just wanted to show off a couple of the possibilities here. How you play it, how you build it, what do you want to do with it is absolutely your business. I'll not tell you what's right and wrong. I'm not the person to do so. But this is how I'm playing it. I'm going to be having another version of the deck up soon in relation to utilizing the sort of Microcoder and the Decode Talker sort of Firewall Dragon combo, because I am a fan of that. I think any opportunity to use Firewall Dragon is a good opportunity, because I love this card. Just from watching the Varian series, this is just like, this is as much an anime staple to me as the likes of Blue Eyes White Dragon, right? So absolutely, big fan of Firewall Dragon. And yeah, that's the video. If you like what you saw and you want to see anything more like this, feel free to subscribe. Like I said, we did an in-depth deck breakdown on this deck. I think it was like last week or something like that. So just have a wee peek back and you'll be able to see the full card for card breakdown of the deck, what we're playing, why we're playing it. And yeah, on that note, I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.